there will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
Stand up, we shall not be moved, except by a child with no socks or shoes. If you got more to give than you've got to prove, put your hands up and I'll copy you. Stand up, we shall not be moved, except by a woman dying from a loss of food. And if you've got more to give than you've got to prove, put your hands up and I'll copy you. We still don't understand thunder and lightning. Flashback to when we didn't fund the damn levee. No wonder, man. Now our whole damn city's torn asunder, man. Underwater, but we still don't understand. We see hurricane spills overrun the land through gaps you couldn't fill with 100 tons of sand. No, we still don't understand. We've seen planes in the windows of buildings crumble in. We've seen flames in the chills through London, and we've sent planes to kill them. Some of them are children, but still we crumble in the buildings. Underfunded, but we still don't understand. Under God, when we kill like the son of Sam. And if you feel like I feel about the son of man, we will overcome. So stand up, we shall not be moved, except by a child with no socks or shoes. If you've got more to give than you've got to prove, put your hands up and I'll copy you. So stand up, we shall not be moved, except by a woman dying from a loss of food. If you've got more to give than you've got to prove, put your hands up and I'll copy you. Put your hands up and I'll copy you. Put your hands up and I'll copy you. If you've got more to give than you've got to prove, put your hands up and I'll copy you. We shall not be moved, except by a child with no socks or shoes, except by a woman dying from a loss of food, except by a freedom fighter bleeding on a cross for you. We shall not be moved, except by a system that's rotten through, neglecting the victims and ordering the cops to shoot. High treason, now we need to prosecute. So stand up, we shall not be moved, and we won't fight a war over fossil fuel. Times like this that you wanna plot to coup, put your hands up and I'll copy you. So stand up, we shall not be moved, unless we're taking a route we have not pursued. So if you've got a dream and a lot to do, put your hands up and I'll copy you. I said put your hands up and I'll copy you. Put your hands up and I'll copy you. If you've got a dream and a lot to do, put your hands up. Now shake a Polaroid dream. Nightmare naked is developed on the screen. We sit back and wait on the government team. Criticize they, but who the fuck are we? People want peace, but the leaders want war. Neighbors don't speak, peek through the front door. House of Representatives pre-stays the course. Time for relief of faith once more. Put your hands up high if you haven't abandoned, and hope that the pinstrokes stronger than the cannonballs to the wall. Nose to the grindstone. My interrogation techniques leave your mind blown. Places your best, let's speak to the enemy. Don't let them pretend that we seek blood. Yeah, who's we anyway? Kimosabe, mighty warlord, wanna be a street dog. Threat for a threat leaves the whole world terrified. Blow for blow never settles the score. Word for word, it's time to be clarified. We the people did not want war. So stand up, we shall not be moved, except by a child with no socks or shoes. If you've got more to give than you've got to prove, put your hands up and I'll copy you. So stand up, we shall not be moved, unless we're taking a route we have not pursued. So if you've got a dream and a lot to do, put your hands up and I'll copy you. I said put your hands up and I'll copy you. Put your hands up and I'll copy you. If you've got a dream and a lot to do, put your hands up.
The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
Hey, welcome back. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's on. My microphone is actually on for once. How about that? Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. My name's Bob Powell. That was my boy Anthony Hiley and Stand Up. Hope y'all are having a good New Year so far. It's been a while since we've been together. Since I got back from testifying in those 2 trials in Washington, D.C., I've been kind of under the weather, and I'm not one to bitch, so I haven't. But I'm getting back on my feet, so to speak. And exciting news, Epoch Times new documentary, The Real Story of January 6th, The Long Road Home. What a title. Dropped last night at 8:30, and I've got a special little sneak preview for you right here, right now. And then we're going to talk to Sergeant Jen over at the Fusion Cell with Jeremy Brown, and we'll give you all the latest updates of what's going on with the court process and what's coming up next. But now, hear this. This coming Tuesday, I will be flying to Washington, D.C., paid for by the Epoch Times, to attend a private screening for select members of the House and the Senate. Okay, it doesn't get much more important than this, kids. I hate to ask, but I have given everything that I have, everything that I am to this cause, and I am flat broke. Okay? So I need, the Epoch Times is paying for the plane ticket, but they're not paying for expenses, and DC is wicked expensive. So if you can, please go to givesendgo.bobbypowell or givesendgo.com/Bobby Powell and drop me a couple of bucks, and share this information with your friends too. Go to my Facebook page, The Truth is Viral. Find me on X at LivesObi, LIVESOBI, on Truth Social at Bobby_Powell, and just share the heck out of all of my stuff, because this patrioting thing is not cheap. I've spent over $100,000 of my own savings, my entire life savings, and about $25,000 of your money to get to this point, and this is not the time to ease up. We can't stop now. We've got them in the corner, and we're beating the hell out of them. And boy, I'll tell you what, this summer is going to be awfully exciting. I handed my video to the 18th Congressman. Last time I was in Washington, D.C., Congressman Clay Higgins is going to be my guest at this private showing on Capitol Hill for this new movie, January 6th, The Long Road Home, Part 2, The Real Story. So why don't we just get to that, and then we'll go to the Fusion Cell right away. We won't even have any commercial breaks, okay? Just watch the lower third. Make sure that you subscribe to all my properties, and go to givesendgo.com/Bobby Powell and throw me a couple of bucks so that I can continue to save lives and win souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days. And right now I'm specifically fighting for these J6 hostages. They're not being treated fair. I was sworn to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth when I was in Washington, D.C., and I was not allowed to do so. The government kept on objecting to they fought for 6 hours to keep me off the stand in the first place. And when they failed, they kept on objecting because, and I quote, I kid you not, they objected because, Your Honor, this testimony or this video is prejudicial to the government. I didn't even know that was a thing. So it blows a hole in the government's case. Big deal. Deal with it. It's evidence. But there was a lot of things I wasn't allowed to say. I wasn't allowed to say that I had offered to come in and give the FBI my video 7 times over the last 3 years, only to be refused each time. Wasn't allowed to say the words Antifa. Wasn't allowed to say undercover agent. I wasn't even allowed to recount a radio transmission that I had heard. They said, it's hearsay. Yeah, I heard, and they objected, said hearsay. I said, yeah, I heard it, and now I'm saying it. Hearsay is when you hear something from someone else. And they're telling you what happened. Well, I heard it firsthand. They tried everything they could to discredit my testimony, but they failed. Unfortunately, both of the defendants were still found guilty by a biased D.C. jury. But the important thing as far as this video goes is that it is now in the judicial record, and there's not a damn thing that they can do about it. It's there, it's done, and actually Judge Farquhar in the first trial almost declared a mistrial because the government failed to provide that video to the defense as Brady material. I had to go out and find these lawyers myself and give it to them. So these January 6 hostages not being treated fairly. Chris Worrell, the lymphoma patient down here in Florida, is being held in solitary confinement. He's not being treated for his lymphoma. He's got open weeping sores. So he's asked that we call his Congressman Byron Donalds and call Greg Steube while you're at it, because I handed him a thumb drive with my video of federal agents attacking the Capitol on February 24th, 2022. And I took it to his office 2 months earlier down in Naples, or not Naples, but Venice. So, he sits on the weaponization committee along with Jim Jordan, Tom Massey, Greg Steube, and I've given this video to all of them. Light fire under their butts, okay? You do that, and I'll do this. And between the two of us, we'll start a ruckus and we'll get some justice around this piece. What do you think? Okay, so here we go with this 5-minute clip of my segment in last night's premiere of The Real Story of January 6th, The Long Road Home from the Epoch Times.
This is now effectively a riot.
1349 hours declaring it a riot.
Disgraceful scenes in the U.S. Congress.
Shameful behavior by President Trump. It is a shame in front of the world.
A deliberate assault on democracy by a sitting president and his supporters. The world is watching.
One of the most troubling questions from January 6th is whether there were provocateurs or suspicious actors in the middle of the crowd. Retired radio journalist Bobby Powell has been trying to blow the whistle for 3 years with video evidence he shot on the east patio of the Capitol.
I don't care if you're carrying an American flag or wearing a Trump hat. Nobody was going into the United States Capitol through a broken window during a riot on my watch. I was there as a reporter. I got down to the Capitol just before 2, and the west side was already under attack. And as soon as I get up to the top of the Capitol steps, I hear banging and crashing to my right. So that's really good footage there that you'll want to see. I turn my camera around and there's a man pulling that window completely from its frame. He asked me, why don't you guys open up the rest of it? And I said, because that would probably be illegal. So, it was clear from the things that he said to me that his intention was to open up that window and get people to go inside. I'm right there at the precipice of the Columbus doors when I hear a man in my left ear yelling, hold the line, hold the line, hold the line. Now, I feel his hands on my back pushing me inside. My camera turns around, and by the grace of God, I catch a good video of this guy holding the doors open with a pole. As soon as I got everything together, I put it together a nice little package, and I sent it to the FBI on January 15th. And to this day, he has not been identified. I don't care about money. I want this crime solved. They were calm. They were cold as ice. Okay, they knew exactly what they were doing. They acted like they were supposed to be there. Who are these men? Why have their images never been uploaded to the FBI database? Matter of fact, I've got the literal receipts right here in my pocket. United States Postal Service sending these thumb drives out 20 at a time. reporters, politicians. They're just ignored. And it's really making me angry. I've given this video to everybody with a pulse in media. But nobody wants to talk about my two guys. They don't want to talk about the 80 other guys that Attorney Brad Geyer has found with his team of attorneys.
So at about 1:57 or so, the group of provocateurs broke away from about midway on the steps in the west, strafed the north side of the Capitol, and started gathering at the bike racks. Those bike racks were taken down in a coordinated fashion. It took 40 seconds. Meanwhile, directly to the east of the steps, there were hundreds of people stacked in there that included provocateurs and suspicious actors, and they arrived at roughly the same time as the group that came from the northeast. We've worked with experts in that space, the suspicious actors that we've flagged as meriting further investigation. They're provoking police at the architectural stage. There's probably as few as 6 to 8 people who actually removed the barriers in that northeast. And had you not had them there to remove the barriers, the crowd behind would never have just moved to fill the space. Very few people had requisite intent to actively go and trespass. To most people, the vast majority of people who entered, they thought they had permission to do so.
And I don't want no one to cry, but tell them if I don't survive, I was born free. I was born free. I was born free. Born free.
Now, I'm standing here today telling you God's truth, speaking in the name of and with the authority of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because I am telling you the truth. It was the FBI and not Trump supporters who led the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th.
Like an untamed stallion, if you can't see my heart, you must be blind. You can knock me down and watch me bleed, but you can't keep no chains on me. I was born free. I was born free.
Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this?
You really want to know? It might make you uncomfortable and you even sound a little crazy. But if I tell you, you can't go back to sleep. Here's the truth. You're under attack. We all are. Our children, our families, our communities. The saddest part is they're only successful because we refuse to pay attention. For centuries, even millennia, they've conspired in the shadows and worked behind the scenes and hidden the truth behind cascading waves of lies and distractions. Can we be victorious? The Fusion Cell. I'll be your warrior guide, retired Green Beret Master Sergeant Jeremy Brown, with former Police Sergeant Jen. Do we have all the answers? Absolutely not. But together, we'll find them. Now, wake up. We got work to do.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Fusion Cell. It's a new edition. We're doing interviews now, and I have the infamous Bobby Powell with me. Bobby, welcome to the Fusion Cell. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Jennifer. Thank you. I don't know about infamous, maybe the most wanted, but not infamous.
You know, a little this, a little that. Now, you are a veteran. You're a Marine veteran. Can you tell me a little bit about your service before we start?
Well, it doesn't come anywhere close to Jeremy's. I only served a single tour in the Marine Corps. I was a mortar gunner assigned to 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines Weapons Company in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. Never saw any combat. Ronald Reagan was my commander-in-chief, and the world feared us then. So I was at the tip of the spear, but I never got to join the club. if you know what I mean.
Now, do you feel, as Jeremy does, that you took your oath when you became a military member and that's why you're doing what you do today? Or how do you feel about that?
No, absolutely. I don't recall being given an expiration date.
Okay. I feel the same. So
when I held up my hand, I'm sorry, that's okay. When I held up my hand as a 16-year-old Marine recruit, I swore to defend this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And as I said, I was not given an expiration date. And other men who have taken this oath or haven't taken it at all, might have just forgotten about what happened after January 6th. Matter of fact, a lot of the politicians that I've spoken with on the Republican side of the aisle want to forget about January 6th. They figure that it's the best way to win 2024 is to let the January 6th prisoners rot in jail and just move on. I was literally told this at Clay Clark's Reawakening tour in Miami a couple of months ago. Okay. And this is from somebody that would know. So, we can't count on politicians to honor their oaths because, it's called a truism. How do you know when a politician is lying? His lips are moving. Okay. They have one goal in mind, to preserve their own power, basically promote their own agenda. They don't care about the truth. They're scared of it.
That's really exciting to hear.
It is. Okay. January 6th, 2021, my fiance and I woke up at 0:30 and went to watch and record and broadcast the president's speech on the ellipse. And even getting there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, we couldn't get anywhere near. It was packed, the front area. So we were about halfway between the White House and the Washington Monument. I was there with another person who I'm not going to name because he's irrelevant. Okay. But we were getting basically the same footage. Okay. So I told him, look, you stay here and keep recording the president's speech. I'm going to start walking down to the Capitol early so that I can get video of 750,000 people walking straight at me, which is what I got. I was successful in that mission. But by the time I got to the Capitol, and remember, I left 20 minutes before, probably more than a half an hour before the president ended his speech. And by the time I got to the Capitol, the West Side was already under attack. Okay, now my fiance had knee surgery just a couple of months before, and she was having problems walking. So we decided to bypass the West Side, despite my journalistic curiosity to see what was going on. We couldn't really see anything, just a big commotion, heard some what we thought were firecrackers, but we didn't know they were flashbangs. So we went around the north side of the Capitol, and a crowd had already started beginning to form at those steps, just going up to the Columbus doors. Now, instead of going to the apartment where, for lack of a better word, we had maintained a forward operating base, which was just on the northeast side of the Capitol, I put my fiance into the back of a Department of Homeland Security pickup truck, and I told her to sit right there. You will be safe. I will go do my job, and then we will go home. So the crowd, there were two waves of protesters, and I was like maybe 4 or 5 back. I was holding my press credentials in the air with my cell phone, and there were no hands flying. Okay, it was just a line of Capitol Hill police officers standing guard at the base of the steps, and protesters were yelling at them, okay, chanting Trump, 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 USA, USA, all this kind of stuff. And then the Capitol Police just started beating people, started hitting them over the head with the sticks, and people immediately overwhelmed them. Because who's going to put up with that? They're just standing there peacefully and protesting, making their voices heard. And the Capitol Police just start beating them with their nightsticks. Okay.
So you saw that with your own eyes, that they were.
I did. I not only saw it with my own eyes, I recorded it on a camera.
Okay.
And when the rush occurred to go surge past these police officers, I was knocked down, and I was knocked down right next to this 70-year-old Air Force veteran, the little lady, about 5 foot nothing, right? And I just put my arm around her head and I said, honey, let's just stay right here and let this crowd pass us by. I think this is the safest place for us to be right now. So that's what we did, maybe 2 minutes. And then the majority of the crowd had already reached the top of the Capitol steps. And by the way, the magnetic locks on the Columbus doors were still sealed at this time. Okay, they were not open. So I get to the top of the steps, and as soon as I get there at 2:08 p.m.
Okay.
Oh, I got to go back. When I was knocked down, I lost that camera. It's now in the possession of the FBI, and I've FOIA'd and asked for that back, and they won't let me have it.
So they for sure have it.
Yeah, they do, because you know how Apple has the track my iPhone thing, right?
Okay.
I used my other phone to track it, and it went right to a security office inside the Capitol.
Okay.
And so, you know, it went from my possession at the bottom of these steps to the security office in the Capitol, I don't know, within about a half an hour.
Okay.
But anyway, I had 4 other cameras with me that day.
As a good journalist.
Yes, there's no such thing as redundancy when it comes to ammunition or photographic equipment. You can never have enough. Okay, so exactly 2:08, that's when I started recording at the top of the steps. I hear a ruckus of the smashing of glass to my right, and an Antifa guy by the name of Hunter Emke was smashing a window to a Senate office. And he was righteously taken down by Capitol Hill police officers, because you shouldn't be doing that, right? Okay, obviously he was committing a crime, and he was arrested and detained. And get this, they took his driver's license and they let him go. Now, tactically, that was a smart decision. I mean, how are they going to maintain 8 police officers? How are they going to maintain control of a prisoner when there's a whole bunch of other people yelling at him? You know, you're not taking him. Okay, we are going through that window. So they let him go, and he was arrested at his home in California a couple of weeks later. And he spent a year at home on an ankle monitor in his basement, eating Hot Pockets and playing Call of Duty before his trial came up. He was sentenced to 4 months in prison. That's it. So now, after these 8 Capitol Hill police officers let Emke go, they were standing around guarding that window for about 10 or 15 minutes. And they received a transmission over their radio asking, how many defenders do you have at that window? And they replied, 8. And I walk up to one of the Capitol Hill police officers, and I said, brother, there are 9 defenders here. I swore an oath. to protect this nation from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and nobody's going through this window on my watch. So if you need some backup, all you got to do is let me know, and I'm there for you. And he thanked me, and I got back to, filming. A second radio transmission telling them to displace, to leave a broken window completely undefended with a mob threatening to go inside. Which is what they did. They walked away.
Do you know, excuse me, do you know who gave that order? Who was talking on the radio?
It was just a dispatcher. I FOIA'd the radio transmissions, but the FOIA request was denied. But 90 seconds after those police officers left the area, turning around and picking up some pieces of glass, right? Because I didn't know what started this. I knew it was a momentous event in history. I just wanted to take home a few souvenirs. I didn't know what started it. I didn't know how it was going to end, but I wanted something to take home with me. So I was picking up some glass, picking up trash and whatnot, when I hear a crunching sound on my right-hand side, and a voice asking me, "Why don't you guys open up the rest of it and go inside?" I said, "Well, that would probably be illegal." And he says, "Oh, I know, but," and then the audio kind of trails off and you can't understand what else he said. But the crunching of the glass got so loud. I mean, it was loud, because he was beating the crap out of that window, and it forced me to turn around just in the nick of time to capture this man who was dressed in paramilitary gear, had an earpiece in, face mask, pulling this window completely from its frame. If you want to go ahead and roll that Epoch Times video.
Because I think that'd probably be illegal. Oh, I know, my glasses. I got my. I'm just picking up garbage. Do not go in there.
Okay, go ahead and pause it. Now, as of this day, what is it? November 1st, 2023.
Yeah.
The FBI has not uploaded a single second of the 29 minutes of HD video that I provided them January 15th, 2021. I have volunteered to come in and give them an interview and all of the video that I shot on the 5th, 6th, and 7th 6 times over the last 2.5 years. Each offer has been refused. So yeah, the last thing that the FBI wants is for my video to get in front of a federal judge. We'll talk about that though later, because they kind of failed on that one. You saw that man pulled the glass from the window.
Yes.
Okay. And then I had to break from reporter mode when another Antifa by the name of Gavin Kroll, the redheaded kid with the sunglasses who tried to rush in, I wasn't going to allow it. I don't care if you're wearing a MAGA hat or carrying a Trump flag or an American flag. It doesn't make any difference to me. The Capitol is a place that you just don't break into. Nobody was going through a broken window during a riot at the United States Capitol on my watch. It just wasn't going to happen. Got in the way and captured video that man pulling the glass and Gavin Kroll trying to walk in. And there were a couple of other people that I kept out, but I was too busy keeping them out to be recording it. So let's go on to suspicious actor number 2.
Let me ask you before we go on, what do you think was said between those two? Between Antifa?
I know exactly what was said because Gavin Kroll saw my video and contacted me, and I interviewed him. You can find it on my Rumble channel at Bobby Powell. The Truth is Viral on Rumble.
Okay.
I think the title is something like Federal Officer Assaults GC Protester, something like that. But anyway, during this interview, Kroll told me that man in black blamed him for tearing out the window. He says, "Why did you break out that window? What are you doing that? Why? Well, who do you think you are?" Because now this guy in black, he didn't realize. I'm assuming. This is just. It's just the most logical thing. He did not know how long my camera had been rolling on him, so he was trying to cover his own ass and blame the kid in the redheaded kid with the sunglasses. And let me tell you something. Gavin Kroll's no
angel,
innocent. He's not. He's an anarchist. When I was in Washington, D.C. testifying for one of the defendants in a trial, I saw a video of him outskirts of the East Side tearing down barricades. Okay. So he's no angel either, and he's also a convicted child molester. This is something that I did not know at the time that I interviewed him.
Or else you didn't, or else maybe on the day, if you'd have known that, you'd have said you should jump through that window.
I would probably thrown him off the balcony. I don't know. I don't like child molesters. I love my kids. I've got 5 of them. If anybody ever hurt any one of them, God help them. Now, if you'll start that Epoch Times video again, we'll get on to the second federal agent that I recorded attacking the Capitol. He's holding the Columbus doors open with a pole, and he was pushing me inside, or trying to push me inside. Let it go. that he's pushing me. Okay, you can actually see the forward motion of my camera, and that's why my video was relevant in the case of U.S. v. Nancy Barron, because she was pushed into the Capitol by this same man. Okay, go ahead and let it roll. Okay, now comes my favorite part. He drops his pole, reaches down to pick it up, and as soon as he stands up, he gets hit in the face with a pepper ball. I hope it hurt.
Now, the person helping him, could you tell if they were together?
No, I was actually blinded. What saved me basically was nothing short of miraculous, because as he was trying to push me into the Capitol, the Senate doors to the Senate chamber swung open, and a formation of Capitol Hill police came out and started squirting. It's like well, they were firing pepper balls, using all kinds of different chemical irritants. I got a liquid in my face. I was functionally blind when I was taking that video. So I consider it nothing less than divine intervention, because I was able to catch good video of this guy nice and close up. But again, as of today, the FBI has not uploaded a single image or a single second of either one of those two men to their FBI database, their YouTube page, or their Facebook page. They're putting up all kinds of fuzzy images of people milling around outside, not doing a whole bunch of nothing. But they don't care about looking for these two guys.
Did you hear at any time a notice to disperse?
No,
at any time.
Not. No, there was no. We had no cell service either.
But there's speakers all over the Capitol.
Well, yeah, there are speakers all over the Capitol, and you could hear the alarm going off. But there was no order to disperse. I mean, it just was a melee that broke out, and nobody did anything about it.
Okay. None of those police officers, I mean, they're standing right there in front of that window we just saw. And none of them said anything to anyone, it looked like, at least in your presence. No, they didn't. Well, they spoke to each other, but they were whispering in each other's ears, right? That's why I wasn't privy to what they were saying during the 10 to 15 minutes that they were standing there and guarding that window. But nothing publicly, nothing to the crowd, nothing like that. So no. Okay. Not even was it not broadcast over loudspeakers. The officers themselves didn't say a word to the people that were saying that they were going to go into the Capitol. Since January 6th, and God, if you want to, I'm telling you, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about the plans for your life. Because after 36 years as a journalist, I was supposed to retire on January 7th. Okay. And is not much of a retirement. Was this the most I mean, maybe the biggest event you'd ever been to, or the most chaotic, or how could you compare this event to all the others that you've been through throughout your career?
Well, I'm not a riot journalist. I'm just not the kind of guy that goes looking for trouble in the streets. Antifa fighting Proud Boys or whatever. That's not my thing. After January 6th, the Standing Rock protest was the biggest thing that I'd covered. At least as far as national news goes. I've broken a lot of local stories. My very first story fell into my lap on my first day as the editor of the Palm City Mirror in 1987. young boy by the name of Todd Patrick Neely, he's 16 years old, had been accused and convicted of attempted rape and attempted murder. He was convicted in a bench trial somehow, but he went to his lawyer's office after his conviction, and that's where the press gaggle was, waiting for him, asking questions, and everybody's asking him stupid stuff, right? But I'm taking him seriously because he said that he was at a bar, restaurant, 15 miles away at the same time that the woman, her name was Linda Zavatsky, I believe, was being attacked. And I know from personal experience, because I lived in this area and I DJ'd at the same, I wrote for the newspaper in the daytime and DJ'd in local clubs at night, but I DJ'd in that same club every Sunday. So I know how long it takes to drive from Stewart to Palm City. Okay. And the prosecution had said that Neely gave his family, he was going outside to smoke a cigarette while they were having dessert, got in his car, raced, must have been at least 120 miles an hour over curvy roads like this, right? And attacked this woman, and then raced 120 miles an hour back to before his family noticed that he was missing, and somehow he got convicted. Well, it took a year of investigations. I started working with a private investigator that the family had hired, and we eventually found what they call canvas sheets. When a crime occurs, you know how cops go door to door, asking if anybody had seen anything.
Yeah.
And the Martin County assistant prosecutor's name is Peter Neal. He had charged and convicted Neely, already. But he had these canvas sheets, and he had not brought forth this exculpatory evidence because he wanted a conviction. The canvas sheets identified another young man by the name of Dennis Rather, who lived in this woman's apartment complex, who had a history of being a peeping Tom. Okay. So we eventually found out that it was him, and Todd Patrick Neely his conviction was overturned. He was released with the apologies of the court, and eventually won a $3 million lawsuit. And Assistant State Attorney Peter Neal lost his job and eventually lost his license to practice law. I assume that he's spraying Lysol into bowling shoes in Texas or something. But I kind of ruined his career and saved a young boy from spending 20 years in prison at the same time, and I've been chasing that feeling ever since.
Wow.
So
like the first year that you started, and then now the last day of your career. It's like, well, I think God's going to stay in the game, stay in the fight.
Well, he can help me. I've had 6 heart attacks since January 6th. It's not been easy, because this footage is so explosive. Nobody wants to touch it. It's radioactive. I've known Sebastian Gorka's wife, Catherine, for years, as well as you can know anybody on it as a Facebook friend, right? Okay. So I sent this video to Catherine Gorka to give to Sebastian Gorka. I think it was the 12th of January. Same day I gave it to Sean Hannity. I knew Sean Hannity. Yeah, I figured I've realized that now. I thought Sean Hannity was a good guy. Apparently he's not. But I had direct access to his executive producer because the radio station that I worked for up in Michigan is Matt DePerno, who uncovered the voting irregularities in Antrim County, and started that whole rigmarole and ran for Attorney General Michigan in 2020 and lost. But so I got Hannity's producer's phone number from Matt and off to the races. Mm-hmm. His producer, Stephanie Wolishin, very pretty young lady with not a single ounce of brains in her head. She lies to me for months. about why this footage is not appearing on Fox News. You can also see and hear our conversations on my Rumble channel, Bobby Powell, The Truth is Viral on Rumble. Okay. It's Sean Hannity, Deep State Gatekeepers say it isn't so. So, yeah, she lied to me for months about why that video hadn't appeared on Fox News. And finally came to a head when I put her on the air, and everybody listening in northern Michigan heard me say, "Now, Stephanie, I've been telling my listeners and viewers on my internet show for months that Sean Hannity has got this video. He's on the case, and this is going to bust wide open any second." Now they're starting to call me a liar, and I can't have that. So I said, "Stephanie, would you mind telling the estimated 150,000 people listening to this conversation live on the air right now why that video has not been shown on Fox?" Click. Yeah. I knew by that point that there was no use in engaging with her further, and I didn't care. He's no good, Sean Hannity. No. Not at all.
And you've given it to a lot of other people too that haven't done anything with it.
Oh yeah. By email, I contacted Senator Josh Hawley on through his aide Ben Grunder on March 3rd, 2021, and gave him the video. I ran into Hawley at CPAC 22 in Orlando, and I personally handed him a 3-page written narrative with a thumb drive wrapped inside, and told him my story real quickly. And he's had this video when he was questioning Christopher Wray. Were there any undercover federal agents in the crowd? And Hawley didn't use it. Okay. I gave it to Kirsten Sinema's office, responded at the same time. So got a Democrat senator that also has it. I've since, either by registered letter or by physically placing a thumb drive in the January 6th package in their hand, I have given this video to 18 members of Congress, and 4 of them sit on the Weaponization Committee. Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Greg Steube, and Thomas Massey. Okay, now
Marjorie Taylor Greene also. Kevin
McCarthy. You've got you're getting a little bit ahead of me, but yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Kevin McCarthy, Louis Gohmert, they've all signed for packages. Speaker McCarthy signed for a package. This is all before December of 2021. Okay. Matt Gaetz got his first copy at a Trump rally in Sarasota on July 3rd, 2021, when I handed it to him. I handed it to Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. I also handed it to Florida GOP Chairman Christian Ziegler. And I also sent Christian Ziegler a registered letter. And sent Gaetz a second registered letter. These people will not call me back. Matter of fact, I know that Christian.
What do you think this is, Bobby? We're looking at actual evidence of FBI agents or whatever. Okay, this guy is a bad actor. He's blaming his actions on someone else. It's very clear that he should at least be investigated. He's not being investigated in any way. You're showing our representatives that we pay our tax money to represent us, the only ones with the power to investigate when there's a miscarriage of justice, or if there's we think something fishy is going on. They're the only ones with the power to do so. Why would they not even talk?
Scared to death.
Give you an answer or anything.
Scared to death. They don't want to cross the deep state. Of course, I don't care. I'm old. I'm Christian. if something happens to me when I die, I know where I'm going. I'm going on a 10,000-year fishing trip with Jesus Christ. And that's going to be some fun. So death doesn't scare me.
Some of these people pretend to do something about it, right? They have their committees and they bring in some of the defendants from January 6th. They bring in some of the family members to speak. They even talk about releasing the tapes. You know, they hold it out like a carrot. We're going to release the tapes with this next speaker. You just wait.
Yeah.
But yet they don't.
Remember, politicians, lips moving, lying. So I was successfully able to get the video on Greg Kelly's show on Newsmax one time. And then his producers won't return any of my communications. It's been on Dan Ball, One American News Network, twice. He's actually got me scheduled to come on again. So Dan Ball's got some huevos, let's say. Dan, the newsman, Ball, gotta love it. But as I said, once I gave the video to these politicians, they've all ghosted me. They won't return my phone calls. I call and leave messages. I call and talk to staff members. I've called Lauren Boebert's office probably 36 times, and you know, trying to get some answers, and I'm getting none.
Has anyone asked you to be quiet?
Oh yeah. Now we get to the good part. After my hit on Greg Kelly's show, my friend, in air quotes now, Congressman Kerry Bentivolio, former Michigan representative from Bay City, and I were formulating a plan to get this video directly to President Trump. I mean, the guy's a former U.S. congressman. He's obviously got phone numbers in his Rolodex or whatever that I couldn't possibly have access to. So we meet at a rib shack in Bay City, and after the initial pleasantries are over with, you know, how's the wife? How was church this morning? How are the grandkids and all this? We order our barbecue, and Kerry says, "Hey, Bobby, what would it take to get you to stop talking about your January 6th video?" And I said, "Kerry, why would I do that? You know, it proves that undercover federal agents, regardless of what agency they work for, whether it's FBI, HSI, or Homeland Security Investigations, or CIA, you know, whoever, proves that Trump people were not responsible for the quote unquote insurrection." And Kerry Bentivolio told me, because Ron Weiser wants you to. And I said, why would the chairman of the Michigan Republican Party want me to stop talking about a video that exonerates President Trump? Kerry did not reply to that question, but he did say, how about $100,000? I kind of laughed a little bit. And I said, Kerry, you're blowing my mind. Okay. You got to be kidding me. And he looks me dead in the eyes. How about $200,000? Would that be enough? Okay. Now, at this moment, I'm realizing that my friend is actually offering me a bribe to suppress this footage and send it down the memory hole. So I told him, look, Kerry, you go back and you tell Ron Weiser that he doesn't have enough money to buy my honor or my silence. You can tell Ron Weiser that if he wants me to stop talking about this video, he's going to have me killed. At which point, Congressman Bentivolio said that could be arranged. And 6 weeks later, on the anniversary of January 6th, I'm standing outside the Pinellas County Courthouse. I was showing my video. I'd purchased a projector and a big screen so that I could show my video to audiences wherever I go. Just after I had finished showing this video, the police started moving everybody out of the area. They said there's a suspicious device in the area, and I walked up to a police officer and I said, who reported this suspicious device? And he said, a supervisor, and walked away. At first I thought they were just rousting us, right? Because of who Jeremy Brown was and the crimes that he was falsely accused of. So it wasn't until afterwards, the next day, when Tampa Bay 10 came out with their report, and Sheriff Bob Galtieri, Pinellas County Sheriff, said that the explosive device that Garrett James Smith, got to keep all these names straight, had brought to the rally, but he started to run away, and it attracted attention of police. That's why they arrested him. Okay, apparently he just lost his nerve at the last second. So again, God was protecting us. But anyway, he was arrested. Sheriff Bob Galtieri, the next day of the press conference, said that the device was very destructive, could have hurt a lot of people, and said that Smith had no social media history. Allegedly, he was born on January 6, 2000. I mean, what 20-year-old do you know that has no social media history whatsoever? But Sheriff Bob Galtieri, Pinellas County, confirmed that he had just returned from Portland, where he had attended terrorist training in an Antifa camp.
And you have a video of this on your Substack, just so everybody knows. Okay.
Right. So all this information, any receipts that you care to see, the receipts from all the registered letters that I've sent, video of me handing this video that I recorded of federal agents attacking the Capitol to just basically everyone with a pulse. You can find it all at Bobby Powell at .substack.com. So anyway, Garrett James Smith, who apparently is a transgender incel of some type, who had changed his name legally to Jordan Hanna the month before, he kept his mouth shut for an entire week until the FBI came to his rescue. And all of a sudden, the Pinellas County Bomb Squad is a bunch of amateurs who can't tell an explosive device from a smoke bomb, which is what the ATF said that it was. Okay, and here's an interesting little aside. It's a project that I've been working on for less little bit. Because I have to know. I'm an information sponge, and they need to ring me out, and news goes everywhere. But I wanted to know, because even a hoax bomb in the state of Florida is a felony. Okay. So I wanted to know why the Pinellas County Sheriff said that one day he says it's a bomb that could have hurt a lot of people, and then the next week the FBI lets him go, and the only charge he's left with was prowling. Okay, and they say that the device wasn't effective. It was just a novelty smoke device. After I produced the show about that attempted bombing, I was sent video from one of my viewers that showed Garrett James Smith in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. He'd been pulled off a Hippies for Trump bus, and a couple of people on the bus were arrested for guns and drugs, but Garrett James Smith was magically allowed to go on his way.
Really?
And video later shows him in the presence of Ray Epps, no less, attacking barriers and attacking police officers. So this kid, Garrett James Smith, or let's be politically correct. Let's call him Jordan Hanna because he's a little bit of a wussy, okay? He is an FBI asset.
Yes.
The FBI uses Antifa all the time. So they came to his rescue twice. First, when DC Metro pulled over the bus on the original January 6th, and then after he tried to blow up our vigil for Jeremy on the anniversary of Jeremy's on January 6th, 1 year later.
Wow. Is that footage on your Substack as well? To see him coming off that hippie bus? Wow.
It sure is. You know, I'm kind of stuck now. As I've said, over this, since January 6th, I've had 6 heart attacks. And it's kind of slowed me down a little bit. Marines never give up. We never surrender. But it has slowed me down quite a bit. The last one that I had, and this is going to blow everybody's mind. The last person that I gave my January 6th video to was General Michael Flynn, December of last year. I had my 5th heart attack, I think it's like 2 weeks before, and I was wearing a defibrillator vest in the event of sudden cardiac death, according to my cardiologist. So whenever it would, if it detected a heart attack, it would automatically shock you, right? Okay. Shock you back into the sinus rhythm. While I'm waiting in line to give this video to General Flynn, my vest starts vibrating, warning me that it's about to deliver an electric shock. Okay. But the battery pack has a delay button on it. So I kept on pressing that delay button until I could hand that video, and by now it's a 4-page written narrative, directly to General Flynn and his brother Joe. So I went back right back in the hospital, and that last heart attack nearly killed me. It's been, well, almost a year now, and
damn, Bobby, you are a soldier.
I'm still suffering from the effects. When I was testifying in Washington, D.C., I testified in 2 trials so far. Nancy Barron, U.S. v. Nancy Barron, and United States versus Ryan Zink. My video was relevant because Nancy Barron says that she was pushed into the Capitol by the same guy that was trying to push me in. Okay. And my video of those police officers walking away from the window shows Ryan Zink standing on top of a pedestal taking pictures with telephoto lens so that he can see inside the Capitol. So that's how it was relevant in his case.
Did your testimony have any impact on the cases that you testified in?
No, you're not going to get any justice with a DC jury. And as a matter of fact, the judges were, well, let me start with U.S. v. Nancy Barron. Okay. The prosecution fought for 6 hours to keep my video out of evidence and me off the stand. They threatened me with prosecution just for being there as a reporter, doing my job, not causing any violence. I didn't even go inside the Capitol. I was just taking video outside. Right. The only reason that I'm not in the gulag, haven't been arrested, is because I caught video of federal agents attacking the Capitol. Owen Schroyer was much further away from the East Steps from that action than I was. I mean, I was closer. If Owen Schroyer gets arrested, why wouldn't I be arrested? Because the federal government does not want my video to be seen and entered into evidence. Well, they failed in the Nancy Barron trial. And I was allowed to testify, but I wasn't allowed to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The judge, Farkawi, I believe was the judge's name in Nancy's case, before the jury even come in, he said I could not mention the words Antifa. He said I could not say undercover federal agent. He just placed a whole lot of restrictions on what I could and could not do. I said, okay, I'll try to do my best to abide by them. The prosecution says, Mr. Powell, isn't it true that you're being paid to testify here today? I said, no. I said, well, how did you get here? The lawyer for Nancy Barron paid for my plane ticket. Where are you staying? I'm staying at the lawyer's apartment. Isn't it true, Mr. Powell, that you have a give, send, go of $18,000? Said, okay, yeah, I do. So I've spent my entire life savings, $100,000, had to sell my house, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm kind of living in a fifth wheel right now.
Gotcha.
Going around Florida showing my video to anybody that'll watch it. The Pinellas County Patriot saw it just 2 weeks ago. I had Muggs, the same, and you know where Muggs is, right?
Yes.
So I told her I've given everything for this moment in time to get this video into the record because nobody wants to touch it. I was under surveillance, physical surveillance, the entire time that I was in Washington, D.C. I'm sure that the FBI is all up in my electronics. I occasionally send them send myself an email from 2 different accounts with a picture of a mortar gunner sticking up a middle finger while the mortar rounds shooting out and say, hey, dear FBI, go F yourself. So, but I was being physically surveilled the entire time that I was in Washington, D.C. for both trials. And I'll tell you how I know. I've got a picture of one of the guys that was tailing me. And this is the second trial, U.S. v. Ryan Zink. I had found out by now that you can't take a lighter into a federal courthouse. So as I'm leaving to testify in the Zink case, I dropped my lighter in a flower pot outside of the lawyer's apartment. And when I returned later that day, every flower in that pot had been torn out. I guess they thought that I was some kind of a spy with leaving a thumb drive or dead drop for the Russians or something. I don't know. But anyway, the federal government owes a bunch of flowers to the apartment complex where the lawyer was staying because they totally destroyed that flower pot looking for whatever it was. And all it was a lighter. So
cool. So I remember that. Yeah. DC is and they've got that geofencing going on. They're capturing everyone's identity and data who's within, I don't know what the mileage is, but you get any step foot in DC and you're definitely getting tracked for sure.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a snake den over there.
And in my case, I'm getting tracked down here. I bought a bug sniffer so that, I'd every other day or so, I check out my truck. I check out my fifth wheel, make sure that there are no electronic listening devices. I haven't found one yet. And I hope I never do. But the actions of the FBI since January 6th, in as far as my relationship with them, has shown me that they cannot be trusted. Did I tell you that I had offered to come in and sit down with them 6 times?
Yeah.
Since January 6th. And on top of that, now after a few times of being refused, I filed complaints with the FBI's Office of Professional Responsibility and the Department of Justice Inspector General. I've done it twice for each office since January 6th. Haven't heard a word back from any of them.
I'm sure.
Nothing.
Have you seen the movie Police State?
No, I haven't. but it was produced by Nick Searcy. He's a good guy, and we've got a good relationship. Matter of fact, my video appeared in his first movie, Capital Punishment. So yeah, I haven't had the chance to see Police State yet, but I do plan to. If Nick Searcy's got anything to do with it, it's going to be a good production.
It just goes hand in hand with what you're saying, that we can't trust the FBI. They give multiple examples. January 6th is just one, but they show kind of the behind the scenes of what's going on inside the office. And where are they getting that information from? The FBI whistleblowers, Steve Friend and Kyle Seraphin. And then they have a couple other people that they talk about the movie as well. And then they talk about, the moms at the school board meeting that got their doors rammed in, and, the guy in front of Planned Parenthood. And, it is a web that they're weaving. And January 6th is one piece of that. But what's important about January 6th is that we have a lot of our brothers and sisters being persecuted and being political prisoners right now. So that's of the utmost importance. Those people have had their freedoms taken away.
Absolutely.
Liberties stamped on.
The Sixth Amendment doesn't apply anymore. Neither does the Eighth or the Fourth.
Exactly.
I mean, we know that the FBI planted those hand grenades in Jeremy's trailer. Okay, you just don't take ordnance from a military installation. It just doesn't happen unless you're like, oh, I got a funny story to tell you. 1981, I was standing guard at the armory of the weapons company. NCIS comes around the corner with my commanding officer, and he says, "Marine, stand to and charge your weapon." And I'm like, okay. And what happened was the armorer had stolen a bunch of weapons. He'd stolen some 60 millimeter mortars. He'd stolen some M60 machine guns. We were still using M16s back at the time. We were called out on the carpet. The next day, the entire battalion said, "We are not going to rest until we find the person that did this."
Absolutely.
And you know who it turned out to be?
Who?
Eugene Gu. I was sleeping 100 yards away from one of California's most prolific serial killers.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yep. I swear it's true.
Wow.
So after he had been dishonorably discharged from the Marine Corps and spent a couple of years in Leavenworth, he went to California and hooked up with this other guy, and they went on a serial killing rampage. And I can't remember. I want to say between 40 and 60 victims.
Oh my goodness.
So, that's just a kind of funny little sidebar. I mean, it's not funny for the victims, of course,
right,
and their families, but it just shows you how weird things can be, how you can be normal in your life one moment, and the next moment, everything's turned upside down.
Yes.
And that, I'm sure, is how Jeremy's feeling right now. I mean, the man's a damn hero, and the government is coming after him with everything they've got, manufacturing evidence, withholding evidence. Oh, right. In both of the Judge Farkawi and Nancy Barron's trial almost declared a mistrial because the government failed to provide my video to the defense in discovery. I had done it myself.
Yeah. These kind of games, once you really look into what's going on with these January 6 trials, it would really blow people's minds, but they just don't know because no one's talking about it. And just like you said, you're having a hard enough time trying to get your video out there. That's not something anyone who's watching mainstream media is ever going to see. They don't see the shenanigans that are going on in court. They don't see the withholding of the exculpatory evidence, that you can't even talk about January 6th and Jeremy's Tampa trial. It's just all these things. That is when you realize that the justice system has nothing to do with justice.
No, it doesn't. And it breaks it breaks my heart because, you know, I've always grown up from a kid. I was taught to respect law enforcement. Okay. They're here. They're our friends. They're here to protect us from the bad guys.
Yes.
And turns out that they are the bad guys. But what do you expect from an agency that names its headquarters after a sexual deviant who legally spied on American citizens and then tried to use that information to get them to kill themselves, like in the case of Martin Luther King?
Yeah.
Okay, so the FBI has a long history of crooked behavior.
Yes.
I watched as a sniper from the FBI's HRT team shot through the roof of Lavoy Finicum's Ford Bronco as they were going to the sheriff of a neighboring county when the Bundys had taken over the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge, right?
Mm-hmm.
That FBI agent was arrested for tampering with evidence because he picked up the shell casings and denied that he had taken any shots. And so he went to trial, but for some reason, even though they've got him on video picking up the shell casings and putting them in his pocket, he was found not guilty.
Wow.
So there's definitely a two-tiered system of justice in this country, and it's unacceptable.
You're
I won't
absolutely
stand
right.
for it.
You're absolutely
And I will keep on fighting for the rights of American citizens, and because, you know, they're not, these aren't just, our rights are not just something that the founders just thought up one day. They are God-given rights. Okay. The founders simply enumerated them, put them on paper.
Yeah.
The right to speak freely, the right to protect yourself, the right to not be harassed by the federal government, you know, all this stuff. These are all rights given to us by God. And I almost, when they wouldn't let me tell the truth in Nancy Byrne's trial, the prosecutor was showing the video of me that I'd taken at the Columbus doors, but she had rolled it a few seconds past where I was being pushed in. So I got up and I said, "Your Honor, the prosecution is lying to this court. They're committing a Brady violation right in your face."
Oh my goodness. What happened?
Nothing. Here's another funny thing. Every time the government objected to my testimony or to a piece of some of my footage, their objection was, and I quote from a sidebar that the attorneys and judges had, my video and testimony was prejudicial to the government.
How is that so?
No kidding.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
I didn't either. I thought evidence was evidence, and you take it into court, the scales of justice, guilty or innocent. Okay. And they are not allowing any evidence that implicates the federal government in the most massive crime ever to take place in this country. It was a coup on January 6th designed to cover up the stolen November 3rd election, because there were 5 legal challenges from 5 key swing states, okay, on the floor, and they were objecting to those challenges. And once the I'm going to call it a Fedsurrection. Once that started, of course, all debate stopped. And as soon as Congress reconvened, all those challenges were dropped. That was, in my opinion, the entire purpose of the Fedsurrection.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you because they rushed right through that thing while that was going on. Man, well, you've dropped a lot of truth bombs today, Bobby, and I just want to thank you for your service because you took that oath and you continue to abide by it, quite frankly.
Well, as I said, it's not just an oath, it's an oath to God. Okay. And Revelation 21:8 says, all liars and all cowards are going to have their part in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur. Okay. You can't put me in one of those categories. I won't allow it. I want to take that fishing trip. I really do. That's what I was planning on doing when I retired. I was going to buy a 52-foot fishing boat and, live out my golden years and get my Ernest Hemingway on. But that wasn't God's plan for my life. I don't know what his plan for my life is. I can't guess what's in other people's minds, much less in the mind of God. But I do know that all things work together for good. Okay. The Bible tells us this. Even our trials and tribulations. God allowed the devil to take everything from Job. His children died. His wife died. He lost everything. No money. He lost his farm or whatever, homestead, whatever. And he still remained faithful to God. So God will put us through trials, and he will put us through tribulation to it's just like refining us for that final battle. Jesus Christ was not some kind of long-haired socialist hippie running around singing Kumbaya. Okay. Whenever people ask me, well, what would Jesus do? I tell them, well, hey, making a whip and beating the crap out of people and flipping over tables is within the realm of possibility.
I was just going to say that.
Great minds think alike.
Absolutely.
But, and I consider Christ to be somewhat of a warrior because he literally jumped on a grenade to save us from the death that we deserve. And all we have to do is accept his sacrifice. And, we're golden. And, do what he says. Repent when you have done wrong. Mm-hmm. Just, do the best you can. Be a good Christian. Believe in Jesus Christ. And no matter what happens to you, everything is going to turn out the way God wants it to. Okay. And exactly.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby. Let me make sure that everybody knows where to find you. So we're going to go to our...
nobody knows where to find me because I'm in a fifth wheel moving around Florida showing my video to any Trump club that'll have me.
Well, that's perfect. If anybody is sitting at home, they can definitely find you. Please, if you contribute to Bobby Powell exposing the Fedsurrection and his quest for truth and integrity. So this is givesendgo.com/Bobby Powell. This is his Substack right here. You can go to bobbypowell.substack.com. He's got a lot of great info on there. I suggest that you read it. And then here we go to Bobby Powell. The Truth is Viral on Rumble. So rumble.com/user/Bobby Powell. The Truth is Viral. Is there anything else? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Is there anything else that you want to tell the audience? Anything else you'd like them to know?
I would just ask that they go start making phone calls and making phone and writing emails and dragging these members of the weapon. I mean, the other 13 members of Congress aren't on any that I've given the video to, aren't on any good committees, but Jim Jordan, Thomas Massey, Matt Gaetz, and Greg Steube are all on the weaponization committee. Okay. And none of them are returning my phone calls. So how about everybody pick up a phone and call their offices? And just say, hey, I've seen Bobby Powell's video. And I know that you've had it for 2 years and you haven't said a word while January 6th prisoners are being tortured in the DC gulag. They're being physically abused, medically abused, psychologically tortured to the point of suicide. I want to know why in the hell you're not doing anything about it.
That's right.
Light those phone lines up.
Yes.
That's one thing that I have learned during my career as a journalist is politicians hate bad publicity. Okay, you drag their name through the mud long enough and hard enough and strong enough, and eventually they will bend to your will. Okay. I found that out when during 2012, my representative up in Michigan, 1st Congressional District, Congressman Dan Benishek, broke his promise to only stay in Congress for 2 terms, and he was running for a 3rd. And at the same time, National Defense Authorization Act 2012 came out. Sections 1021 and 1022 authorized the United States military to arrest any United States citizen without a warrant, hold them indefinitely without a trial, and not even inform their families that they have been taken, and they could even rendition them to foreign shores where they would undoubtedly be tortured. So I was after Congressman Benishek for about a year, trying to get him to say something. So why are you voting for this legislation that allows the federal government to kidnap Michigan citizens?
Yes.
Okay. So when he starts his 3rd campaign, now I'm getting serious. So I tell Dan Benishek, I'm saying, look, every single rally that you have, every appearance at every blue-haired lady hair shop, every bowling alley, every bar, every place that you go, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to ask you that question. 3 weeks later, Congressman Benishek dropped out of the race.
Good job,
It
Bobby.
can be done.
Yeah.
Now, let's get it done.
Let's get it done. And like Jeremy says, whatever you do, don't do nothing. So a lot of people always wonder what they can do. There you go. Bobby Powell's giving you some homework to do. Give these people a call and let them know you've seen his video. Well, thank you very much, Bobby. Just sit tight. I'm going to play our little outro, and we hope to have you again soon on the Fusion Cell. And thank you for being our first interviewee.
No, it's been my honor. Thank you, Jennifer. It really is, because in my estimation, Jeremy really is a hero. This country owes him more than what he's getting. They at least owe him justice. Thank you for being our first interviewee. You're absolutely right. They have no idea. Thank you, Jennifer. So tell Jeremy I said hi. Tell him the Marines have landed. We are on the case.
I sure will. I sure will. Everybody have a great night, and whatever you do, do nothing.
And we are back live on The Truth Is Viral. Don't forget to go to all my properties and subscribe. Find me at Bobby Powell on Truth Social, at Lives OB on X, bobbypowell.substack.com. If it's free. I'd never charge for my information that I collect. Okay, if you feel like buying a subscription for as little as $5 a month to help support my work, you can do that. I sure would appreciate it. You could also go to givesendgo.com/Bobby Powell and throw me a couple of bucks there. And I'm going to need that soon, because this coming Tuesday, Epoch Times is holding a private screening for members of Congress of their new documentary, The Real Story of January 6th, The Long Road Home. They are paying for my plane ticket, but they're not paying for expenses, and that's where I need your help. I'm totally flat broke, and I need you guys to drop me 10, 20, $100, whatever you can. I don't need a whole lot, just a few $100, And I'll be able to get back to and from D.C. and talk with these congressmen and senators that are scheduled to attend this private showing, and maybe give them a swift kick in the ass and say, hey, it's time. It's past time. Thank you for watching Truth is Viral, everybody. My name is Bob Powell, and as always, God bless, Semper Fi, and Hoorah. I'm out of here. Have a great new year. Love y'all.